I didn't really get like a good like closure interview from like C9 as to why they decided to go separate ways with me.
I'm joined by Isles. I'm joined by Isles after defeating IMT. Congrats on the wins, Isle. That game looked like it was falling out of your hand. It looked like it was going IMT's way. They had 3 dragons. So my question to you is, how did you guys turn that around?
I think that you definitely you hit the nail on the head with sort of identifying that we were sort of obviously not the favorite going into that 4th Drake fight or 3rd Drake fight, whatever it might have been. But despite our pretty poor early game, I would say there was some good decision making, just some quick thinking, and I think our draft was fairly forgiving in the sense that we had a lot of tools when it came to team fights. We have Silas with Leonold, we have good follow-up from Leonold, as well as 2 champions in Rakan and Rel that can pull the trigger in case someone mispositions, as well as that sort of late game security that is Smolder.
Talk to me about Smolder. You guys are the first team to pull it out. I was watching the draft. 100 Thieves banned it. I think second on blue side, second ban. So talk to me about blue side. A lot of people have been wondering, is it weak? A lot of people have very strong opinions that no, he's non-viable. Some people are saying he's just completely broken. What are your thoughts on playing a lane with Smolder in competitive?
I think that Smolder, honestly, when I play it or like play with it, I feel like it's sort of similar to Zeri when Zeri initially came out. It kind of feels like that sort of champ where he's very weak early, but has like these sort of spikes where he can fight. But he's also very good at neutralizing lanes. That's something that Zeri was good at in the past. Like she just has, because her Q is so high range, I don't know, even back then it was like even higher than it is now. You're so good at playing defensively and just clearing waves, and you're so mobile that you can avoid a lot of the typical spells that would sort of stifle champs like this. And it just kind of feels like to me that Smolder has this ability to just get to the spikes where he becomes strong very easily. That's sort of the value in the champ, which was, like I said, akin to Zeri when she first came out.
Is the main spike of Smolder when he gets the 225 like execute stack, or definitely is the 125 useful?
They're definitely all, I mean, even like pretty much every spike is useful. You can definitely feel that increase in power, whether it be in laning phase or in team fights. But the 225 mark is when Smolder becomes clearly overbearing, I think. And I think in competitive environments, it can go one of 2 ways. Sometimes it's like we can't play the game because Smolder is useless for this many minutes. But there's also those times where, in this game, for example, where it felt like they couldn't do anything. Even though we were down several Drakes and we made mistakes in the early game across pretty much all 3 lanes, they couldn't take our mid tower at any point. Maybe if they had got that 1 Rift Herald, they would have had an option, but they couldn't kill our mid tier 1 for the whole game. And because of that, Smolder is just farming every wave. He's killing it quickly, oftentimes first, and we just have that freedom to do what we want on the map.
I didn't even notice they didn't get the mid lane, but you're right, they didn't get the tier 1. Sort of shifting focus, you played on C9 for just a short little stint, but you were in the team, at least the main team. Is there anything that you learned from C9? They're kind of famous for their systems and coaching structure. Is there anything you learned there and took with you to Dignitas?
To be just, I guess, upfront, or just to be perfectly honest, I think that when I was playing on C9 for those like few weeks that I played in playoffs, I think it was like 2 onstage weeks, but for scrims it was like 3 or 4 weeks. That was like some of the most fun league I've played in my whole life, and I was like so excited, but I was also like so nervous. When you get in this position, especially in playoffs when it matters, it's not like it's regular split games. If I lose 1 game, it doesn't matter. Like we were already fighting for our lives at that point. It was a lot of pressure, and I didn't want to be the person that did anything wrong, I suppose. So especially with a veteran, which was Blabber at the time, who was extremely vocal, maybe like one of the most vocal players in the whole league, I sort of had that backseat role. And I mean, people always have this perspective on stage where you don't want to be that one to make a mistake, and I felt like that, but I still didn't feel like I played bad on stage. I think even though we lost the series against EG and we won the series against Golden Guardians, like I didn't think I was out of place at all. I thought that I was one of the better performing players, I think, in laning phase in the series. We played well, if you can remember. But what I will say is that I didn't really get like a good like closure interview from like C9 as to why they decided to go separate ways with me. But between like, I don't know, self-reflection, or I don't know, I wouldn't say really reading in between the lines, but just self-reflection, and my assumption is that they didn't feel like I was there for my teammates out of the game. And it's not that I was, like a terrorist or something, I was just trying to be more league focused, more in-game focused. I was very vocal in like in review, I think, if I think back, as far as I was aware. But again, I was trying to take that backseat role, and I was trying to just focus on my game. And I think that's maybe where I fell short. Like, I should have been spending more time out of the game with my teammates and trying to understand these people as people rather than as, members of the game, I suppose. And that's something that I've taken into Dignitas, like, this is your team, it's not just your league teammates, it's not solo queue anymore. These are people that I want to get along with. And this is something that I think I've already, managed to, after all this reflection, I've managed to do better. Like, I'm a lot closer, I think, with the team that I'm currently playing with than the like C9 members. I was obviously still like, friendly with them, but we never really built that sort of camaraderie that I think I have the opportunity to build now.
I'm really glad to hear that, just because a lot of times when League of Legends player go into start playing on a team, they're quite young. They're not the most experienced. And the fact that you're saying, hey, I did a lot of self-reflection. I learned, that maybe that wasn't something that I should have done or I could have improved. And I actually went to Dignitas and I applied that. That to me just speaks of a lot of like responsibility and self-discipline. So I'm definitely happy to hear that. I wouldn't have known otherwise. Speaking of just, creating environment that you want to be in with comfort with your teammates, how is the Dignitas environment? Before this game, you guys were tied for last. I think now you probably move up at least one spot. I'm not sure how the standings are going to look, but it's not where you want to be. So how's the team environment?
I think that usually just the trend of our on-stage games oftentimes seems like, well, this game was kind of an exception, the one we just played. There was a bit of an early game calamity this game, but typically I felt like our games were lost close to the mid-game, and oftentimes it was just small macro things, or I guess sometimes bigger macro things, but, mistakes were made. For example, in the FlyQuest game, like, that's the game I was most critical of, because we were so far ahead, I think, just across the board, and the game fell apart, like, just within moments, pretty much. So I think that the team environment doesn't feel like, we're losing in laning phase, doesn't feel like early game is necessarily going wrong. It's just that hurdle of getting to mid game and having this sort of, I don't know, on the fly thinking that allows you to outthink your opponents or think more quickly, make decisions more snappily, and just get in the flow a bit better. And that's something I think in scrims, for example, I'm really good at. But on stage, it's just, I don't know, there's more lights, there's more people watching, it's more intense, the setup's a little bit different, it doesn't feel as familiar. So I think it's something that not just me, but the whole team will ease into more as the season progresses. But I think a lot of that is, a reason why we've had such a shaky start.
Awesome. Anything you want to say to the fans?
Just thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting me, and I hope you continue to do so, because I work every day to try and make you guys proud.
All right, thank you so much. Also, you should check out the LCS Discord. There's a diehard Dignitas fan who every single day is like on the Dignitas like portion, I guess, chat. He's just like spamming like Dignitas is gonna win Worlds, Isles, and like yeah. So it's nice seeing like the fans interact. So Isles was really cool to interview. You know what else is cool? You guys, because you guys are the sponsors of this video. I don't actually have a sponsor. You guys subscribing and liking and commenting is what keeps this channel alive and growing. So keep doing that, because it's been an awesome journey. I love doing this, and I love getting content out for you guys and your comments and interacting with you guys. So keep it up.